Welcome to Kenty Blitz. I'm James Phelps, and I'm here with my former mentor, believe it or not, Paul Kent. Big day of news, and I'm happy to be with you, Kenny.
Yeah, bombshell going off today, Phelpsy. Mate, good to have you. First off, for everyone at home, Phelpsy and I obviously used to work at the Telegraph together. He then went on to greater glory, Australia's #1 non-fiction writer, and always roaring around the bestseller list.
Well, some of us have to write, mate. We can't go and make big bucks on TV and do all the glamour work, especially when you've got a head like this.
Yeah, that's fair call, mate. So, mate, look, I'm really happy to have you here today, mate, and we'll get on to it. Obviously, big news, though.
Let's rip into it, mate. Huge news day.
Lachlan Galvin tells the West Tigers he's out, that he won't be there beyond 2026 when his contract expires. And the Tigers are reeling a little bit. I don't know if they quite saw this one coming, to be fair.
Well, yeah, the news, he knocked back a 5-year, $5 million deal, which was reported this morning, and apparently it took him a little bit by surprise, but a little bit of a scoop. It was actually 6 years and $6 million. So quite stunning that an unheralded playmaker, obviously a big talent, but he's knocked back a $6 million deal.
Yeah, it's a lot of... Look, they had to keep that. They had to pay that to keep him. Okay, that's where it's at. That's where the talk is at. People argue whether he's worth that or not. Well, you're worth what people are willing to pay. We all know that. I'm stunned by it. It's a 6-year deal. Is a long time to sit there and have the safety of that. Because Phelps, the other part to this, which sort of I think is what surprises people. Under current NRL rules, he's not allowed to negotiate with another club until November 1. So, theoretically...
Yeah, you just said they had to pay $6 million to compete. So, where are these offers coming from?
Well, is it panic buying from the Tigers? See, the Tigers have got a history of losing good juniors over the years. Tedesco was a junior. Mitch Moses was a junior. They've lost rep players. They both played for Australia. Tedesco particularly is captain of Australia. So... This is the one guy they did want to lose as a junior, and they've lost him. So I don't know where they go from here. So it's going to be really tough now to see what the Tigers do. But I'm fascinated to see where Galvin ends up.
Well, firstly, mate, it's not all doom and gloom. I've heard they might have dodged a little bullet in this one.
In what way?
Mate, he doesn't really like extras. So I've spoken to some people at the club, and he does the bare minimum. He's happy-go-lucky. Obviously, he has all the talent in the world. Yeah. But Jerome, he'll stay there after training for an hour a day, working on his kicking game, potting field goals, doing all these little extras which you have to do to be a top-flight half in the game, mate. He packs his bag and goes home, and it's been noted by some people out there, especially in the playing group, and... Would you invest $6 million over 6 years in somebody
they were willing to, though. But they were willing to, though. They were willing to.
And that's the Tigers, mate. They always do crazy things.
But you've got to ask, well, see, look, I get that. I don't know whether the Tigers are looking at a bit of a smokescreen now as to, that sort of, what they call that buyer end, when you lose something, that envy, I don't want to admit to it because they've lost him, so now the little rumours coming out, we're probably not that bad off anyway. I think they're devastated. I think that they really, really did want to keep him. I think the $6 million, 6 years, is indication that they wanted to keep him, obviously, and also how much they wanted it.
And look, what's it say about his opinion of the club? If he's a local junior there, he gets offered at 19 years of age $6 million over 6 years, apparently doesn't have another offer or another club. He's just going to put himself on the market and leaves. Like, he's essentially... He's got a year and a half left to go. He's telling all his teammates that he doesn't want to be there, that he doesn't want to play with them in the future.
Well, he hasn't physically, but you're saying what his actions have
100%.
Are saying to his team. Yeah, that's the big thing. The club's got to now deal with that. The club's going to have to sort of spend the next days, weeks, putting a bit of a spin on the club to try and take this sort of smear off it that they're the most.
Mate, they don't have a media manager. How are they going to put a spin on it?
Well, they're going to have to do something. Shane Richardson can handle all that. The fact is, it's embarrassing to the club. It's embarrassing that a club has their best young player come through, supposedly has not even had another offer put to him.
So do you rate this kid, mate? Do you think he's a future superstar?
I do. I think he's a very good player. I think he's capable of anything. Look, what I really like about him, he's got some guile with his hands. Okay, he's got some subtlety about his ball playing. I think he's very good. He's got he's just deft the way he can take the ball to the line, put a player through a hole, make a little show and go himself. That kind of thing. Clearly, there's things to improve on. His kicking game, he's punched a few into the back fence there over the weekend. But he can kick. I think he's a good kicker. I think he's got a big future. This is devastating for the. That's not underestimating. This is devastating for the Tigers.
Is he worth the same money that Jerome is worth? How many premierships? 4 premierships when he gets there?
He's not.
Well, they were offering him more.
I know that, Phelpsy, but what they were also trying to do was they're trying to get ahead of it. They knew that come November 1 that there was just going to be an avalanche of offers, okay? They had to try and get ahead of it. They had to try and offer him money that was not insulting to him. So they couldn't. He's reportedly on 350 now, okay? Now, again, 19 years old, that's great money. But they couldn't also sit there and say, okay, let's just offer him 5 or, like insult money, because knowing that a deal will come November 1 that will swamp that. So they did. Fair play to the Tigers. They went in. I think they paid probably overs. I think they knew they were paying overs. But they had to pay overs to try and keep him. Clearly, they had to pay overs to try and keep him. And clearly, overs were not enough.
Hey, is he going any better than a bloke called Toby Sexton?
Oh, look, I think if you're going to bank on their futures, you bank on Galvin.
No, right now.
Well, no, but he's 19 years old. He's playing with Luai. He's going to learn from Luai. Sexton, I realise, is also a young kid himself. But I just think that Galvin is a potential superstar. He's a potential superstar. They needed him at the club. They had to come in with a big offer. I think the Tigers, while I think it was over what he's currently worth, they came in with the ballpark right figure. They needed to keep him at the club.
Oh, mate, I just think it's ludicrous money. And, mate, a couple of young halves here. You know the story. You played half too, didn't you?
Not very well.
Yeah, well, neither did I. But, mate, you know how it goes. Like, it's a long journey and it's a lot of money. And I know that they had to go and offer it because other clubs are. And let's get to this part. There's clubs out there, at least one, that are prepared to match this deal or better it. So we're talking another NRL club, $6 million over 6 years, potentially more. Who is it? All right, so let's go through the clubs.
I don't know. Yeah, but it's got to be funny because he technically can't negotiate till November 1. I don't for a minute believe that the old famous third party has not somehow come along here and broached some prospective deals. But it's a big gamble to knock back $1 million.
Well, let's address the white elephant. Isaac Moses,
his manager. Well,
he's got a history of doing the wrong thing.
Well, he was the manager. He must just hate the Tigers. I tell you, he took Tedesco out of the Tigers. He took Mitch Moses out of the Tigers. He kept Luke Brooks there, and he took Aaron Woods out of the Tigers. So he had the 4 of them at the time.
He doesn't like the Raiders either. Didn't Teddy get on a train and go down to Canberra and then backdoor it at the last minute?
Yeah, he did.
Ricky was waiting with flowers and chocolates.
Yeah, but Ricky gave him a serve. Ricky, he took players out of Canberra because Ricky refused to deal with him. Ricky just said, but I don't want to have his play. Like, there are a few at the club now, but they had a big blue because he thought he had too much of a say over the club. I don't know where he's going to go. I don't know.
Well, I've got some news on this, exactly what you're saying. We're talking about Isaac Moses and his reputation. One of the clubs that have been linked is the Roosters. So news out of the Tigers camp today was they believed that the 3 clubs that were interested in him and he'd end up was the Bulldogs, the Sea Eagles and the Roosters. So I made some calls and I've got it on firm authority, not the Roosters. And the justification straight away was someone there will not deal with Isaac Moses.
We know that's Nick. Nick won't deal with him. So.
And 100%. And it's not just lip service. 3 juniors were turned away from the Roosters that were signed there because Isaac Moses managed them. They approached the kids and said, get another manager. We really want you here, but that's the way it is. So, when Nick puts his foot down, he really does. He's one of the few blokes in the game that can actually do that.
Well, the Bulldogs have been linked to him. Okay, you say that they're one of the clubs. It makes sense that they are. Phil Gould has been spruiking his talents, as I said earlier. I wondered last week when I spoke about this. I said last Thursday on the show that he won't be at the Tigers beyond 2026, and a few people sort of choked on their coffee when they heard me say that. But the story, clearly it was right. It was strong last week. It was confirmed this morning by the Tigers, who put out the statement saying that he won't be there. They said, which I found fascinating, that they'd offered him the largest contract offer for a junior in club history, which is $1 million a year. That's a lot of money. I don't know about the Bulldogs.
Do the Bulldogs need him? I'm a Bulldogs tragic, as you know.
Yeah.
And what I'm seeing there at the moment is Burton is a running player, fantastic. Yep. Played his best football at centre. Now he's coming to 5'8", still learning the trade. He's getting a kicking game together. Yeah. What he needs is an established playmaker to look after herding the boys around the park, kicking into the corners, taking over that to free up his running game. Yeah. If you're getting Lachlan Galvin, aren't you getting a very similar player?
Kind of, yeah. But you don't say no to talent's the other part. You don't say no to talent. So,
what, do you want 18 halfbacks in the team?
No, you don't. But if you can make it work, you make it work. I don't know about
the Bulldogs. They're also coming first on the table now with Sexton, mate.
I know that, but there was talk that the Bulldogs might have had a little bit of interest in Cherry Evans, just to try and bring a little bit of polish. Given how well the Bulldogs, first when that talk came up, the Bulldogs weren't this far into the competition, and they weren't leading the competition like they are now. And so what's happened there is everyone's fast-tracked their Bulldog plan, saying, well, they're capable of winning a comp probably, instead of being 2 or 3 years away, it's this year, next year, they're sort of right in the window.
Part of their success is they don't have that established halfback. You've got guys like Salmon, you've got Hayward, you've got all these little middle forwards that can take the ball on, go through the middle, and they're playing like halfbacks because they've got the authority to do that. If they get someone like, say, an Adam Reynolds or a Ben Hunt, suddenly they don't go near the ball. It's his ball. Okay? Yeah. They take away from that. So what they're doing is ad-lib, and they've come up with this style of football that's really tossed the NRL on its head a little bit. Yeah. It's different, and it's working for them. Yeah, it's a big call. Like, mate, they're rolling around well. Sexton's doing great, and they've also got 2 very young, good halves coming through.
Phelps, we've all heard about how Phil Gould has lauded Galvin. You imagine he's going to want to try and have a crack at him.
Or is he playing a game to up the ante?
Well, he could have been. You're never quite sure, are you? But he did say that he's the best young junior he's seen for some time. And he called him a generational player. That's a big rap from a guy like Phil Gould, who knows his footy.
He does, mate. Okay. Say what you want about Gould.
He knows his footy. So where do they sit with it? Do the Bulldogs go after him? Well, I don't know what their cap situation looks like. To your point, they do have the players around the ball who are playing good ball-playing roles. Galvin is not the kind of organising halfback that they probably would come in right now and complement everybody else's skill set. The other part to it, though, is Galvin, he could work with Bird. I think they could find a way to make it work with Bird. Could. And
the other thing, mate, the
other part's Cherry Evans, though. Like, Cherry Evans is out on the market now for next season. Okay, Galvin.
What's the other thing that's built the Bulldogs this year? It is the fact it's the no dickhead policy. Cameron Serraldo wants guys in there that are going to work their ass off, do the extras. Mate, he just got rid of 6 or 7 guys that were bringing the club down. They didn't want to train hard. They didn't want to put up with his systems. Yeah. So how much do they know about this Galvin kid? Like seriously, you're not allowed to talk to them. How much do they know about him?
Oh, they're going to
go and throw this money at him.
They would know enough whether they're going to go after him. But I don't know. So you put the Roosters out. Dogs unsure. Manly, well, they're right in the hunt, aren't they? Because Manly are a side that clearly have lost their halfback now with Cherry Evans going.
They've been embarrassed.
But the other, and that's the other part.
They've been embarrassed. So a big score for them. If they trumped it and got this young up-and-comer, it makes up for Daly leaving.
And it looks like it was part of the plan all along. That's how you sell that one, don't you?
Well, is there an email chain for that one? Can we check the emails?
Yeah. But I just look. So Manly will be in the hunt. They'll have the cash. They will. They desperately need a halfback. The fascination part of that to me is Luke Brooks. If Galvin did end up at Manly, Luke Brooks would then have to go back to halfback, which he's enjoyed playing 5'8" at Manly so much and not having that halfback pressure. But Galvin would put him back in the halfback in the 70s.
So wait a minute, did we just say Luke Brooks? What was he touted as a 19-year-old?
I know. Yeah, there you go.
And where is he now?
Yeah.
It's a big commitment.
Yeah, it is a big commitment, but the Tigers needed that. The Tigers are trying to get off the floor. Like I said, they were trying to get ahead of it. They were trying to get ahead of other clubs coming in on November 1 and saying, "We got you. We're after you. This is what this is what we're willing to pay." The fact that they preempted that by giving him an enormous offer, but it's been moved on.
And just quietly, mate, I've got to give him some credit. I really was impressed with what they did yesterday up in Newcastle. Huge Knights crowd, mate. They went up there and pantsed them. And mate, it's working what they've done. Some unusual signings, and the way they play football is quite unique. They've got a lot of ad-lib. Mate, have you ever seen a side that is so free-flowing? You've got Lua sitting there jumping around, going left and right. You've got Tyrone May, mate, offloading the ball everywhere. And you've got Appy being Appy. Mate, would you like defending against that team?
Yeah, fair call. Fair, mate. Okay, what about the Dolphins, though? There's a left field one for you.
Nah, mate, they're in love with their number 7, mate.
I know that.
Pitched him from Penrith, paid him huge money, and, mate, he's coming along.
But they have shown some interest in Cherry Evans. They've shown interest in him as part of that. Yeah, part of the sell there was for Katoa, was for Cherry Evans to come and educate Katoa and just help him through the next few years. Now, the other way they look at it, if they miss out on Cherry Evans, the Dolphins say, okay, well, let's go out and have a look. Galvin.
I think Galvin's a 5'8", a running 5'8", so it would complement.
It would work.
Katoa. I mean, I wouldn't be. This is my reservation. I don't mean to be bagging the kid, but if I'm paying that money for a halfback, for a playmaker, mate, they're the people that lead your team around. They're number 7 on their back. They're kicking into corners. They're leading everyone around. Mate, I would prefer him to play the Burton role, where you're freed up, you're allowed to do what you do. His running game's great. I just don't know if he needs the pressure, and I don't know if he's going to flourish.
What's to say about the Tigers, you think?
Mate, as I said, I think they've done well. Some of their recruitment has been fantastic.
It puts a stink on the Tigers.
Why'd you go with it? You don't like the Tigers, do you?
Mate, it's not as a club thing, mate. You asked me this. Their best player coming through, the player that for the last 18 months, they've told us how much they're going to respect respect what he brings to the club, respect the fact that they're going to try and keep him, they're going to offer him market value money, and he's gone. He's gone. He's told the club he can't negotiate for another, what are we in now, April? He's got 6 months before he can even negotiate with another club.
If I'm the Tigers, I cut my losses now.
Well, they've got no choice.
Oh, no, but I don't want him until the end of next year. Okay, I don't want him at the club. I would do a deal. Mate, they need a back rower. I would do a deal with the club, get yourself a good back rower, and get on with it. I mean, he's not the future. Why develop him? And why keep him around?
Well, that's a valid point too.
I wouldn't want to play with the bloke.
Yeah, why spend another 18 months developing his talents when he's going to take it elsewhere? I can see if you can get some sort of trade in place, if you can free up some salary cap. The other thing is they don't free up a lot of salary cap under his current deal to go and get a good back rower. So while they will in future be able to have some money there for him, I don't think they're going to be able to find that money now for a good back rower. I don't know what they do though. The Tigers, like they are a development club. Okay, some clubs in the NRL are development clubs. Other clubs in the NRL are recruitment clubs. Okay?
Have you seen the table? They're in 7th place right now. 3 wins, 3 losses.
Yeah.
And, mate, they're looking all right. You know, they went up to Brisbane. They were in that game against this star-studded side that's supposed to be world beaters until half-time. Mate, they could have very easily won that and been 4-2. They're going to Parramatta next week.
Yeah, well,
very good chance of winning that one.
Well, they should get it, mate. They're favourites, heavy favourites.
Parramatta
run last. Have you seen the table?
I think it's coming together. And mate, Benji is maturing as a coach.
Though, mate. It is coming together. It's supposed to be coming together. They're supposed to be going somewhere. This club now. They're on the way. We can see that they're all getting better. I like the way they're playing this year. You can actually see some cohesion in their attack. You can actually see them. that there's actually plans out there they're trying to play towards. They don't always get it right, but you can see what they're trying to do.
I can't.
Yeah, but in the past, in the past you could. No, in the past you couldn't. You know what I mean? Like in the past, they were just one up for a settler. You know what I mean? Like they've had some real struggles in attack in recent years. With Luai there, with Coruscant there, they can. They've got the green shoots are appearing there in their attack.
It's not just them, mate. It's their two props. It's Royce Hunt. It's their centres, their back rowers.
I know that.
Buller. How good is Buller going?
Well, there you go. Okay, so now you're agreeing with me, right?
Well, they're going good, yeah.
What I'm saying to you is this, though. This is a club that's supposed to be on the up. So why does it, when they're supposed to be on their up, their best local junior in some time, he'd be the best local junior that they've produced since Tedesco and Mitch Moses came through the club. Okay?
Mate, every club loses players. Did you death ride the Roosters when they lost Menu?
Phelps, just settle down, right? What I'm saying is this. This is their best junior. They've lost him. They've lost him, mate. What are they? Why? How are they allowed it to happen? What's happened in the club? Why? What's Moses getting this guy out of the club for?
There's a question about why he's going.
Yeah, okay, I'm not trying to knock the club. I'm not trying to knock. I don't have a knock on the club. What I'm saying about them is that this guy, who they'd already stated their intent about how much they were going to invest in this guy, and they weren't able to keep him. He's told him he's going. He's told him he's going without even knowing what the club he's going to is going to offer him. And I'm not talking just about money-wise. I'm talking about what sort of premiership threat they are. Okay? We don't even know who that is. We don't know where that is at the moment. He's supposedly done this without having had a conversation with another club. He's got to just go on the open market and see where he settles. So what's he planning is going to be there? We don't know.
I'm not blowing the Tigers up because a 19-year-old kid knocked them back.
I'm concerned by the Tigers. I'm concerned that...
And if he's Nostradamus and he's going to predict who's winning a premiership, no one wanted to go to the Dogs 3 years ago, and right now they're favourites. And I would have been going to the Panthers last year. Look where they are.
Yeah, but... Well, that's right. Okay, and that's fair enough. Okay, that's fair enough.
Do you want a guarantee? Go to the Storm and take unders. You'll be in a good club there.
But the other part is how much is his manager, whether his manager's doing the right thing by the kid.
That's what I'd like to question.
Yeah. See, I get, okay, Isaac Moses works for Lachlan Galvin. That's, unfortunately for most young players, they think they work for the manager. The manager tells them too much what they should be doing, and I'll do this, we'll do that. He might have come to him and said, mate, we're taking you out of West Tigers, I'm going to get you in another club. Now, if he's done that, firstly, the right way is that the manager works for the player. But second to that is, why is he taking him out of this club into wherever we go? We don't know. But this
has Isaac got a history with the Tigers? Yes, you mentioned it.
He did.
Could that be a reason?
Well, probably. But that said, the administration that he would have had a history with are no longer there either. The board is still very much the same, even though they're at war there. But it's a new CEO, it's a new chairman, all that. So that's different. So I don't think that's he couldn't be still holding a grudge over that. But he's also he had a lot of selling points, Lachlan Galvin. He would have almost certainly become one of those club legends if he'd played there another 15.
Club legend, here we go.
Well, based on his talent.
Putting up there with Pearce and Elias already?
Well,
how many games has he played?
Well, I know that, mate. But look, you give him 15 years at that club in the one jersey. The one club players have always got a legacy at a club. Is he going to be a mix and match guy and a guy?
I must be an old cynic, mate, because I can't give anyone 15 years. I've seen it, mate. I've seen it too often, and I've seen it with better, more established players than him.
Phelpsy,
mate.
Phelpsy, they are. Look, the players are playing well into their 30s now. Terry Evans is shopping a new deal at 36. Okay, he's had 15 years, but this kid, you would assume, he's got to do that. I think he's a 10-year player minimum, and they've lost him. He's not got to be a one-club player now. He could have stayed at the Tigers and become that. He had the potential to be that. I don't think he'll have that.
How many Origin games has he played?
What do you want to
ask? But that's what I'm saying. That's the type of player you can recruit to your club for $1 million.
Mate, but he's 19.
It doesn't exactly. He's unheralded. You're playing overs for a kid that untested, untried, And, yeah, sure, he's a great junior, mate, but it's the toughest game in the world, and he's playing the toughest position. Sorry, mate.
So what are you going to do?
I want to see more. Well, good on him for having a crack, but I'm not slitting my wrists that he's gone. Mate, move upwards. Buy yourself a second rower. They've got a good replacement there.
Mate, so you don't throw a 5'8" out and say, mate, we're going to spend the money on a second rower and be happy with that.
Mate, they're playing well.
You can't do that,
look at their spine. Appy, Jerome, Buller. Yeah. It's not bad already.
It's a good spine. Well, at the start of the year, let's remember, Shane Richardson came out and said they've got the best spine in the NRL.
I wouldn't say that, but it's...
Well, he did say that.
He's going to compete with the Storm and the Broncos.
They're in the fight. Well, they're in the fight. They've got a very good spine. They've just lost 25% of it, though. So it's got to be an issue. I don't know where it takes him.
I can't believe you've got me defending the Tigers. I'm a Bulldogs man through and through.
I'm not attacking the Tigers, mate. I'm not attacking the Tigers.
Look, I just don't think it's all doom and gloom. Mate, I've been pretty close to some of the people in the club
tell me
there this year.
This isn't disappointing for the Tigers.
It is disappointing.
And that the Tigers aren't sitting there today devastated as a club that the guy that they had banked on to be a big part of their future for the next dozen years.
Oh, mate, Rich Show and the commercial guys might be devastated, but I'm pretty sure that everyone on the football coach isn't devastated and crying. I think they're probably a little bit angry, if anything.
Well, they are. They clearly are.
And cocksure that they can do it without him and coming up with a plan to do it. That's what you do, mate.
Yeah,
you move on.
I think it's a huge kick of the guts.
And that's the job for them now, the coaching staff, is to be able to manage the situation after this has happened with that kid still at the club. It's coming around, getting rid of him.
Do you think they'll get rid of him? Do you think they'll get rid of him, though? Do you think they'll let him go? They said in their statement today, and it was a capital no, capital N, capital O, no chance that he will be released before the end of his contract. But there is a chance that that could change. Is what I don't want to say that that's a lie, but that could change.
How does the kid handle it? He's 19. How does he handle all this pressure, scrutiny?
And we've got to see the reaction. We've got to see the reaction from around the club. We've got to see the impact it's going to have on the club, because that's got to be an issue. But then the other part is, if you just want to get down to the business of it, is if there is some sort of commercial gain by getting rid of him, by letting him go now so they can get another player in, they may well let him go.
Well, the potential gain is, mate, if you're on $300,000 or $400,000, you're a 21-year-old, up and coming, you got raps on you too, and you're playing with someone that you know has been offered $1 million and knocked it back in the same side. It's a little bit hard to cop.
Yeah, I get that, but
that's where it starts. It's just little things like that, and then it's reactions at training, dealing with it every day. That's where the wheels start coming off, mate, and that's the culture. We were talking about culture in rugby league clubs. Yeah. Well, this is something that completely derail it.
Well, they did just go and basically what's just happened to them, they did the same last year with Penrith getting Luai.
And you talk about them losing one. How about the bloke that they've gained? May. Outstanding. 70 minutes. Yeah. Mate, he's potentially one of the best front rowers in the comp. 70 minutes for a bloke that big. And there's been a lot of talk about why the Roosters let him go, and maybe they got it wrong. Little scoop. Might have had something to do with the bloke that roughed up my mate, JT, over the weekend. Yep. So Spencer Liu.
What are you saying?
Well, mate, they're both from Mount Druitt, both very similar characters, good mates. But I think it was just a case of two big egos that were very hard to manage, and they could only have one. And they made the decision to keep Spencer. And after the weekend, mate, I don't know if that was the right move, because a bit of a pork chop, mate, carrying on at JT like that.
Oh, mate, what's wrong with two blokes having an argument? Seriously.
No, he's trying to. What's he defending himself for? Calling a bloke a monkey, a racial remark? Like, there's no defence to that.
Oh, I think there's a bit more to it. We'll unpack that another time, I think.
Well, can I tell you a little bit about May? I stumbled on this. Like, I was quite stunned at his minutes yesterday. Yeah. Like, I had to go and double check them, and I actually rang someone at the club. Mate, came across this remarkable little story. So he's one of the fittest guys, if not the fittest at the club. So they do a thing called a 1.6 kilometre time trial. You ever done one of them?
No.
No, you would have done them. Come on. Well, it's 800 metres.
It used to be 2,800 metres back in the day, but that was the game was slow back then.
Wait till you hear this. So 1.6, you're done, you're buggered. Mate, all the wingers and halfbacks looking at their times, going off. This bloke does 10 in a row. So
that's very impressive.
16 kilometres, and he did it on multiple times. And a couple of blokes from the club said, "Mate, what are you doing? What are you doing this for?" And he said, "Oh, I'm training for a marathon." They said, "What?" He goes, "Yeah, I want to run a marathon." A few months later, he comes to training and says, "Yeah, I didn't do a professional marathon, but I went out my door at Mount Druitt.
Oh, come on.
Ran the 42 kilometres,
That's
timed it, had it all in his app, went all the way to Penrith and back." Mate, he's the kind of guy I want at my club.
That's might be why the Roosters got rid of him. They want a front row, not a marathon runner.
Well, Kenny, I reckon that's about all we've got time for, and I've learned a few things today, and that you hate the Tigers, and apparently I'm backing them. And
don't put that out there. I live in Tigerland, mate. I am a Tiger fan.
There you go. And Paul Lockie, mate, I don't dislike him. I've just got some reservations. So hope you enjoyed the show, and thanks for having me on, mate.
Good to have you, mate. We'll have you back very soon.
You sure?
Hopefully. If we can afford.